Howdy folks, I'm Whimsical Warming, wrongly wanting for wobbly walnuts.
I'm Amber.
And here are more wanting walnuts for us to, wobbly walnuts for us to want. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, so check your time zone for that. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not bringing my indoor cat outside to meet the neighbor's kid? I'm a 22-year-old female and I still live in my parents' home. I'm about to graduate and I have an agreement to be here, so I can hopefully pay off a chunk of my student loans. Anyways, I have my own cat and her name is Lily. She's very sweet, but solely indoors. She's also very skittish. About 3 years ago, we got new neighbors. Millennial couple with young kids. The oldest is probably around 4 now. My cat's favorite spot in the house is in the sunroom that faces the neighbor's yard. Very big windows. These neighbors also have 2 huskies who often get out into the yard and end up in the street or in our yard. Lily loves watching/stalking the dogs, and I guess over time the little boy has noticed. So the other day I came home and the mom, Jessica, fake name, approached me, asking me if I could bring my cat outside to meet her son. Jessica didn't know that it's just my cat, but she probably asked me because it's a ridiculous request to ask, and figured that I would just say yes. Obviously I said no, and that Lily is an indoor cat, and that she doesn't like strangers, and I wasn't sure how she would react to her son. Jessica then asks if they could come inside, completely ignoring the part about Lily not liking strangers. I said that I wouldn't be comfortable with that either, because it's technically not my house. At this point, the boy came out and was upset that he couldn't meet the cat, so I showed him a video and offered to bring Lily to the window. This wasn't good enough, and Jessica told me that I was wrong to withhold happiness from her son. Ever since, my whole family gets death glares from her, and she has been posting on the neighborhood Facebook page that our association should ban cats. Nobody is taking her seriously because her dogs always escape. I do feel bad because the kid was really sad, but also the mom is really overreacting. So I'm the jerk for not bringing my cat outside to meet the neighbor's kid. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. I mean, you put your pet's well-being first, and that's what matters. You know, the entitlement of this person to be like, how dare you deprive my child happiness? If you want your kid to have happiness in the form of a cat, get them a cat, but they are not entitled to other people's cats.
Well, I think that's the big thing here, is if he wants a cat, cats are easy. You know, she can always go and get the cat and then not withhold happiness from her own child, right?
I mean, that would actually have been a good retort. Why are you not withholding happiness from your child by not getting him a cat?
Yeah. So, I think that OP did what was right for the cat. I mean, cats can't speak, so you have to be a good advocate for your animals, right? So OP was doing what they thought was in the cat's best interest. They know it's skittish, they know the cat might be afraid, and to have somebody come into the cat's personal space might cause the cat additional trauma or something like that if they're not expecting it, especially if the cat ends up getting treated rough by the kid, because kids can be really rough on animals, right? So out of the blue, the kid could come in, and before OP could do anything, could pull on the cat's tail or any number of things, right? And that might make the cat even more skittish. So I don't think that OP is wrong in this situation. I think that, the neighbor is overreacting, and trying to get cats banned now is kind of a childish type of thing to do.
Yeah, well, the neighbor is just being way too entitled and needs to understand that no means no.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for feeling offended when a girl covered her drink while I was talking to her? I'm not the most social person, neither am I the nicest guy, but I've been trying to get better about talking to people instead of just sticking with those close to me. There was this cute girl standing by herself for a bit, so I went up. I said hey, and I introduced myself, just normal conversation stuff. Not long after I started talking, she took out one of those drink covers, the ones with little holes for the straw. and put it on her cup. She didn't say anything, but it felt pointed, I guess. Like, I know the whole thing about people being careful with their drinks, but the timing made me feel like it was because of me. Well, that kind of threw me off, so I didn't stay long. I just ended the conversation after a minute and went to talk to someone else. I assumed that she wasn't really comfortable, and I didn't want to make it awkward. Later, she came up to me and asked why I just dipped like that, and I said that I didn't think that she wanted to talk, especially after she covered her drink right when I walked up. She got kind of annoyed and said it wasn't about me, and I made it weird by leaving. That's the part that confuses me. If it wasn't about me, fine, but at the time, it felt like a pretty clear signal, and a slap to the face, so I backed off. Now I feel like I was in a darned if you do and darned if you don't situation. Am I the jerk? Edit, a lot of people are focusing on me saying that I was offended and that it felt like a slap in the face. That was a poor wording on my part. I wasn't upset at her for protecting herself. It was more that I felt awkward, like I might have made her uncomfortable. So I took it as a cue to back off. I understand why women take those precautions, and I'm not judging her for it. This is just to avoid having to make the same clarification over and over in the comments. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I think, OP, it's important to recognize that it's not about you. For you are a stranger for all intents and purposes, and the problem is that ill-intentioned people look just like people with good intentions, and so she can't tell upon meeting you whether you're the type of person who would spike her drink or not. And she probably won't be the last person you meet who is protective over their drink, and for good reason, as the news this week has recently, really, really highlighted.
Yeah, I mean, for those not in the know, there was apparently a Telegram channel that was teaching men how to drug people, and this was a pretty big scandal that kind of broke out, and a lot of people have been revealed for being terrible people, and I think that it's really important to note that these were even people's husbands who were doing these things to them, right? So women can't always be assured that they're going to be safe. And I know this guy is like, oh well, I felt like this was a pointed thing at me. The thing is, like, if she wasn't, I think that OP's comment about, oh, I felt like after the whole cup thing, you were, not interested in talking to me, that was a little bit of a too far type of thing, right? Because, like, she came over and was like, oh, hey, why'd you stop talking to me? And OP could have been truthful and said, oh, I just didn't think you were interested in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And not, gone into the whole, well, I was offended because you covered your drink around me type of thing, right? Like, again, women have to be very careful because, unfortunately, there are some bad people out there who are going to try doing them harm, and they need to be able to protect themselves against these people. And that doesn't matter, who you are. Now it shows more than ever that women just have to, cover their drinks and protect themselves because there are people with nefarious intents out there. And that's just a really sad state of affairs for women. And I think that we need to not feel offended when women go out of their way to protect themselves, because it's just unfortunately the reality that a lot of women have to live with. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk? I told my friend that he shouldn't give interpersonal advice because he's on the spectrum. Hey guys, so I need some feedback. I'm a 27-year-old male, and I have an acquaintance, a 22-year-old male, that is the younger brother of a good friend of mine. We'll call him Joe. Joe has autism, but he's high-functioning in that it only really manifests in fixations on certain things and struggling to always follow social norms. But everyone in our friends group knows this and tries to make him feel included. Because of this, Joe really feels comfortable giving his opinion on things, even when unsolicited. So, cut to last night. A member of our friend group, Amy, has been having some disagreements with a family member. Honestly, it's nothing massive, an argument over $50. I told her my opinion, that I think that she should just let it go. It's not a pattern or anything, and there's more important things. Well, cue Joe jumping in and saying, no, you need to establish boundaries and demand the $50 or cut contact as a matter of principle. This isn't the first time that he's jumped into an extreme opinion in advice based off of some vague moral principle. And despite trying to politely tell him that that's not a very appropriate response, Joe remained unwavering and frankly standoffish about his opinion. I'll admit that I got annoyed, as he can be very aggressive and overbearing in these situations, and it happened before, but I finally just told him, Joe, no offense, but you have autism and you're not good at judging social dynamics. You should stop pushing your opinion on this so hard. He completely shut down and remained that way for the rest of the night. Some of my friends were mad at me, but others, including Amy, were glad I said something and told me privately. My upset friends want me to apologize, but frankly, I'm not sorry, and I think that I was factually correct in saying that. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk, and no, you are not factually correct. While many autistic people do sometimes struggle with social norms, that doesn't mean that we have no advice to give in these situations. And your pushover advice, I frankly do not personally agree with. Like telling someone to just lose out on $50 because it's not worth it. Maybe if you all are millionaires, but to a lot of people, $50 is a lot of money. I think it's possible for two reasonable individuals to have different opinions on a situation, but to blanket dismiss him and be like, well, my opinion's valued, but yours isn't because you're autistic, that is a problem.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue here is that OP is weaponizing the autism against their friend. And basically they're saying, oh, I'm allowed to give an opinion, but you're not because you're autistic. And that's not a very good argument. The only time that you should attack the argument itself, but not the person, right? So what OP is doing here is actually a logical fallacy. They aren't arguing in a logical manner. If they had a problem with Joe's point of view, then they should say, well, I think that this is not good advice for X, Y, Z reasons, right? But saying you can't have an opinion because you're autistic is, quite frankly, just a terrible way of approaching this. This is just shutting down a conversation instead of addressing or having an actual discussion, right?
And it's deeply ableist.
Yeah, it's also deeply ableist.
To insinuate, like Opie's like, I think I'm factually correct. Opie has just dismissed the entire autistic population from being able to give advice. I guess I can't be on your show anymore, Brian. I can't give advice.
Yeah. So Amber won't be on the show anymore. Just to let you know. So I think that this is, again, I can't stress it enough. I know that people on the internet sometimes will say the most terrible things to people and, try to weaponize anything they can against people, but that isn't the way people should be arguing or having discussions or having arguments. Really, when people have arguments or discussions, it should be grounded in facts. It should allow you to, talk to the person, and you shouldn't be insulting them or degrading them just because, and dismissing their opinion based off of, something that is about them, right? It doesn't matter how smart or dumb or whatever you are, whether you're autistic or not autistic, what your religion is or your political preference. If somebody has a argument, you can always take apart their argument, but you shouldn't use any of those characteristics against them. When you're saying you shouldn't weaponize those characteristics against them. Their argument and your argument should stand on its own. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Centrifuge.
All right, I'll go for it. I think ableism deserves a centrifuge.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I'm a 34-year-old female, and I gave a friend a notebook, a 29-year-old male, and now he thinks that I'm interested in him. What should I do? So I gave a guy that I know that I'm not close to a notebook, and now it's backfired horribly. To be clear, I'm engaged, deeply in love, and my husband-to-be knows that I gave this guy a notebook. The reason was that he, the friend that I gave the notebook, just revealed some horrible news. His dad is dying of cancer and has less than a year to live. His girlfriend or ex-girlfriend cheated on him, and he may lose his job. We aren't that close at all, friends of shared friends, but he mentioned this a couple of nights ago. I also noticed that he's always journaling and that he said it's a way for him to deal with the stress. I was shopping with a friend on Sunday and happened to come across a really nice leather notebook, which I thought somewhat randomly that this sort of friend might appreciate since he's going through a lot. We all met up as a group for dinner last night, including my husband-to-be. And at the start of the dinner, I handed him, the 29-year-old male, a bag with a notebook and just said that I'm sorry for what he's going through and know that this isn't much, but I hope it helps. Well, this morning I woke up to a barrage of texts from 2 other guys at the group dinner, 10 plus, that basically said that it was inappropriate for me to give him the notebook and it showed that I was attracted to him. In my defense, I've given more to people that I've known for less, and it had been a woman. But I don't think that I would have gotten this backlash to begin with. My fiance knew about it and was fine with it, but now feels like I made things weird in the group, and I don't know how to respond to the backlash. I'm starting to wish that I never gave the notebook, and I feel like I did do something wrong, but as someone who has dealt with a lot and had no one to care, it's something that I would hope someone would have done for me, and it's literally just a notebook to journal in. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk, but these friends, I would reevaluate your friendship with the people who are saying you did something wrong. Giving someone a small gift like a notebook is not a sign of, oh, I'm into you. You're not leading him on, you're being a friend. This type of mentality assumes that men and women can only exist if they are attracted to each other. Like if you do anything nice for anyone, then you're into them. And that is not okay. Like people of all genders can be friends, can do friendly things for one another. And it's not an expression of like undying love.
Yeah, I mean, if OP had bought him lingerie and said, hey, I got this for a present for you, I would think that that would be wildly inappropriate and sending very much the wrong message here, right? But something like a notebook is so non-intimate. It's just a very generic type of gift that could be given to anybody, right? Or if OP had given him like red roses or expensive jewelry or any number of things, right? I think there are certain gifts that have romantic connotations on them, but again, a notebook does not. So I think that everyone else is kind of overreacting in this situation. And like the guy is going through a lot and he may feel, certain things, but it's not even clear that this friend may even made a statement to anybody else that he, feels like OP is coming on to him, right? But so it's just a very strange situation all around. And I think that these people are all reading way too much into just a friendly gift. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why was the student's report card wet?
Well, the student's report card was wet because they were all washed up. They were going to fail out of school, and then they're going to, end up surfing for a living, and then actually become a famous surfer. And who knew it? They really had a talent for it, and now are, doing like World Cup surfing competitions and making bank and living on the beach like they always wanted to.
It was below sea level.
Ah, well, certainly it is now. And I have licorice spice. And folks, today is report card day. So make sure to go dig out one of your old report cards and examine it. And if you don't have an old report card, just make one for yourself. You can give yourself all A's. I'm a doctor. I give you an A.
Well, I mean, that saves me from having to drive to my parents' shed.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a haiku for Haiku Wednesday.
Pets' feelings matter. There's no need to stress them just to appease others.
Yeah. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!